Hey guys, welcome to Silva Linings Playbook. I'm your host, Scott Silva. I'm flying solo today. Marcus couldn't make it, but let's talk football. Okay, we've got a lot to talk about today. A lot of the games in week 3 were super exciting, super amazing. Teams seemed to be hitting their stride while others not so much. Monday night was another great game. The Ravens and the Lions. The Lions looked strong on both sides of the ball. I owe an apology to Dan Campbell from the Week 1 podcast when I was saying he needs to not go for it on fourth down. That's just who he is. He keeps doing it, and they keep making it, at least the last few weeks. So good for Dan Campbell. The team seems to be starting to find their rhythm on both sides of the ball. Montgomery ran for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gibbs also had 2 touchdowns. Jared Goff was efficient, and Amon-Ra St. Brown was Amon-Ra St. Brown. And the Lions defense looked pretty tough. They sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times, including stuffing him on a 4th and goal, which was huge. Derrick Henry, on the other hand, had another late game fumble, which cost them the game. It was a good game. I wouldn't mind seeing these guys meet again in the Super Bowl. These teams are both excellent, but the Ravens are heading in the wrong direction. And this week against Kansas City, I think if they wind up losing again, I think we have to start worrying for them. The Giants, Marcus's favorite team, lose to the Chiefs. The New York Giants looks lost. Tracy got hurt his shoulder. The rookie Scadaboo took over in the backfield and looks like he's going to be the RB1 going forward, which brings a lot of excitement to New York because if you're watching those games, every time he touches the ball or gets on the field, the crowd starts to roar. Same as when jaxsondart came in for some of those option plays he was running. You could see just for the few times jaxsondart was in how the defense didn't know what to do. They had to respect his running ability and the pass. Russell Wilson, it's time to go. As we know by now, Russell Wilson has been replaced by jaxsondart. That last series where he threw the ball out of bounds on 4th down, it's like, what are you doing? There is no option. You are losing. You're not getting the ball back. Throwing the ball away out of bounds to avoid an interception doesn't make sense in that case. That's the one time when you're down and trying to fight back, you've got to throw that ball to an actual receiver. At that point, an interception doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as throwing it away. You're losing the ball anyway. At least if you would have thrown it to someone, there might have been a chance for a catch, a touchdown, a penalty to keep the drive going, anything. I don't know. This is just me being the Patriots fan and remembering Russell Wilson throwing that interception down the goal line where they lost the game. Maybe he has the yips. Maybe he still sees that interception over and over again and he just panics when he gets inside the red zone and that close to the goal line that he just can't throw the ball. I don't know. I mean, jaxsondart's starting this week, or as we should call him, Jackson Start, which is what the New York Post back page had. I think it's time. I mean, there's no easy entrance onto this freeway of the NFL season for him. It's well been established that the Giants have the hardest schedule in the league, which doesn't make sense because they were horrible last year. I don't understand how schedules get made. You would think the Super Bowl winners would have the hardest schedule, followed by the Super Bowl runner-up. But no, one of the worst teams in all of the NFL, they have the hardest schedule. So yes, it was smart to get Russell Wilson. He's been a very successful quarterback in this league for many years. It would be good to try to follow the way the Chiefs brought Patrick Mahomes up behind Alex Smith, but Russell Wilson isn't Alex Smith. Alex Smith used to win games. The Chiefs were a playoff team with Alex Smith. They could let Patrick Mahomes sit and wait behind. Russell Wilson is no longer a playoff quarterback. And it's been evident since Seattle let him go. He did well for part of the year last year with Pittsburgh, but at the end he was horrible. That's why Pittsburgh didn't re-sign him. It was smart to have someone with that amount of knowledge to be there, to be in the room, to help Jackson Dart understand what he's seeing, learn the playbook. But now, Russell, it's time to step aside. He's probably going to get traded, I would imagine, in the next few weeks. Let's see how the other teams who are having their own quarterback issues. So let's see what happens there. Maybe Cincinnati. Cincinnati might be a good spot because they didn't look good last week without Joe Burrow. But it's time for Jaxson Dart to start. We're going to have Scattaboo in the backfield. Maybe Malik Neighbors will actually get the ball thrown his way. He was completely invisible against the Chiefs. So I don't know. These guys have been on the hot seat since last year and letting Saquon Barkley go and all those horrible decisions they made. Dayball is supposed to be this quarterback guru, but the more I see, he had Josh Allen, but I'm starting to doubt how much Dayball had to do with that, and it's more Josh Allen's just overall talent in Buffalo that led him to be good. It made Dayball look good. It got him this job, but Daniel Jones couldn't hold on to the ball. He was constantly turning things over. Ineffective in almost every start. And now, here we go. We've got Russell Wilson, and he looks bad too. So, I don't know. Is it the play calling that's the problem? Is it the coaching that's the problem? Is it the head coach? Is it the offensive coordinator? Is it all of it? I don't know. The Chiefs, on the other hand, they're going to play the Ravens this week. Both of those teams are now 1-2. The Chiefs, I wouldn't feel so excited about this win. They beat a Giants team that is all out of sorts. And they're coming up against the Ravens, who've lost, who look strong in all of their games, but also only have one. Both teams desperately need a win. I think the team that loses this game this week, we got to start worrying. If it's the Chiefs, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs because that Western Conference is looking real good, especially with the Chargers 3-0 and all their wide receivers are stars. But we'll get to that game in a second. I'm sure we would have a lot more if Marcus was here, especially because he's such a big Giants fan. But it's definitely time for Jaxson Dart to be in there. This coach and this GM are losing their job unless they start winning. And he was so excited to have Jaxson Dart during the preseason and so excited. And if you watch the highlights from the preseason, you'll see Jaxson Dart, all the energy, all the excitement from the entire team rooting him on, wanting to fight for him and just excited at any little success he had in the preseason. Yes, you can't judge the preseason. You're playing against backups and people trying to make the league. Now you're playing against the ones. But this is it. He played at a big-time school. He's not somebody who played at a small school, who didn't play in big moments. He had big moments. He should be ready for this. He definitely can run, which they need to because their line can't block. So let's see how Jaxson Dart does this week. I'm rooting for him just for the sake that, Marcus's mood can cheer up around here. It'd be nice to have Marcus happy for a week. Okay, so let's go Jaxson Dart. So many games this week at 1 o'clock had amazing endings. The Eagles, who were getting beat up and down the field most of the game, the Rams looked solid and strong. The Eagles fought all the way back. The Rams had the ball ready to score the game-winning field goal and walk off, and Jordan Davis blocks it, recovers it, and then runs as fast as he probably ever did in his life. They clocked him at almost 19 miles per hour for the game-winning walk-off touchdown, which was an amazing ending. It was, for Eagles fans, you got to be excited that A.J. Brown got a lot of work, and they won. The tush push, it's still legal. It's still unstoppable. And I don't blame them for using it. It's a fun play. It's just a quarterback sneak. I don't know why everybody's really wanting to ban this thing. They did have another apparent false start with one of their guards leaving early on one of the plays, but No flags were called. We were speculating last week to see if that would happen, and it did not. So the Eagles, tush push, still working, still successful. Amazing win. They're looking solid. They're winning tough games, but winning teams know how to win those tough games. And the Eagles, they don't seem to have lost a step, and they seem to be the class of the NFC East at this point, and no reason to doubt that they're not going to win this division as of right now. And moments later after that, if that ending wasn't big enough, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and New York Jets, a few minutes after the Eagles' amazing ending, had a similar thing. The Bucs are beating the Jets up and down the field all game. Slowly, Tyrod Taylor leads the Jets back. They're starting to score. And then the Bucs are lining up for a field goal that are going to win them their game. And Will McDonald leaps over the center, leaps over the snapper, doesn't touch anybody. No leverage was used. I had to watch that play about a half a dozen times because I couldn't believe the athleticism he displayed jumping over the line, getting that ball, blocking it, and running down the field, which caused, I'm sure everybody's seen the memes of Aaron Glenn with his sideline dance celebrating because it sure looked like they were going to win. But when I saw the clock and there was like about a minute 40, a minute 39 left in that game, it's like, wait, everybody just pump the brakes because that's a lot of time. I've seen a lot of good quarterbacks lead their teams back with less than 2 minutes to play. And the Bucs have won their first two games in a similar fashion, so there was no reason to think this game was over by any means. And I think the Jets were so excited, they just couldn't catch their breath by the time the Bucs started that drive. And they drove it down the field, kicked the game-winning field goal, and the Jets are now 0-3. And New York is heartbroken. But you got to start wondering. I mean, there were some signs of life. I mean, they did well with Tyrod Taylor. It took him a little while to get going. It would have been nicer for them if they got that going earlier in the first half, but they made the game exciting, made it fun to watch. If you didn't see it, go watch the replay. It was a good game. Aaron Glenn, loved the dance moves. A lot of fun. I love the excitement. I just wish for the Jets' sake they could have finished that off. But on the other hand, Marcus's early MVP candidate, Baker Mayfield, is still working that Baker magic. Another late game victory. That's 3 in a row for them. Bad thing for the Tampa Bay, Mike Evans hurt his hamstring. Looks like he's going to be out a couple of weeks. Ibuka is going to be the number one. He looks like he can handle it. He's been a star so far. He's been the number one receiver thus far anyway. And now he's going to get his chance to be that guy. Hopefully, Chris Godwin can come back. Otherwise, he's going to be double teamed, and it's going to be a tough go. They're going to have to get that running game going in Tampa Bay this week. They probably should anyway, just to keep the balance and take the pressure off Baker. But let's see how that goes. And now let's talk about my Patriots. I haven't really talked about them much this year. As you can see by my attire, I am a big fan. The Patriots lose to the Steelers. The offense looks like it still has its training wheels on to me. I'm not really sure if maybe they're just still learning. I mean, as I've said in the previous podcast, the first 3-4 weeks of a season, the first team and second team guys are getting more run and getting their wind up, and they're really getting into their rhythm. I think this is the week. There's going to be no more excuses after week 4. The Patriots, I was going to say we, but I'm going to play for them, so not we. They have some problems with fumbling. Ramondre Stevenson's fumbles, he fumbled the most of any running back last year. He had two fumbles in 4 carries this week. Gibson came in. He fumbled the ball. Drake May fumbled the ball. We have ball control issues. I say, Mike Vrabel, reach out to Tiki Barber, the former New York Giant. He suffered from fumbling issues early in his career and got it figured out and became a sure-handed running back. Maybe it's time to bring in somebody like that to work with these guys to show them how to hold on to the ball. I mean, because these defenders are getting better and better each year at punching the ball out and stripping the ball and getting you from behind. So Stevenson has a lot of problems holding on to the ball in the last 2 years. He's going to be buried on the bench. We're going to see the rookie Henderson this week. Hopefully, he's on my fantasy team. I'd like to see him get some run and some attempts and get a rhythm going. It's time to turn it to the young guys. I was excited that Josh McDaniel was coming back. I thought it would be good for Drake May, which it seems to be. Hunter Henry is definitely enjoying the offensive playbook because he seems to be the main receiver. We still don't have anybody on the outside and haven't since Edelman was there. And really before that, we haven't had a star like a star wide receiver. I had not had a star wide receiver since Randy Moss, and he was only there for a very short time. So that's a long time for having a stud wide receiver. I mean, Booty is doing well, he's made some exciting, top 10 play type catches, but there's no game breakers. There's nobody stretching the field. Everything is short and little slot receiver kind of things. Stephon Diggs hasn't really been a factor at all. Maybe he's still recovering from his injury from last year and getting into shape, but he's not contributing. And the offense looks very basic compared to what Josh McDaniel offenses look like. So I'd like to see that get going this week, but Carolina just shut out Atlanta 30-0. So have they figured it out? Is that the team that's going to show up this week against New England? If so, the Patriots are going to be in trouble. Last week, Carolina looked like the team that ended the season last year, where they had it figured out. They got running, they got passing. Their defense was amazing. Their defense didn't even let the Falcons get into the red zone the entire game, which that's incredible. It's amazing. So Carolina, if that defense shows up against the Patriots this week, this is going to be a tough game. The Patriots need this win. Carolina needs this win. Both of these teams are 1-2, so we'll see how this goes. But for my sake and for my fantasy team, I'm hoping Henderson gets a lot of carries and a lot of yards this week, and we'll see how that goes. If you need a tight end out there, might want to think about picking up Hunter Henry. He's probably going to be the focal point. He seems to be the focal point the first few weeks. So tight ends are tough to find in this league. He's going to get the targets. Hopefully he'll get the receptions and some yards, and he's going to be the guy that Drake May throws to when they get in that red zone, when they get inside the 10 yards to the goal line, those last 10 yards, he's going to start looking for Hunter Henry. So let's see. I'm crossing my fingers because I need something good to go for me this week. It's been a rough week for me. So Patriots, I'm counting on you to boost my mood. Let's talk about the Bears and the Cowboys. Going into this game, I'm worried about Ben Johnson and Chicago getting this team going. I mean, Caleb Williams has looked good. Rome Odunze's looked like a number one receiver. The tight ends are not getting involved at all. Loveland and Kibet, not really a factor yet. DJ Moore, he did get a touchdown, but other than that, he's been invisible. I thought in preseason I saw them running the ball and doing jet sweeps with him. Haven't seen that happen yet. But they did wind up putting up 31 points on the Cowboys. But much like we've been saying in the previous episodes, is it the Bears being good, or is it that the Cowboys are that bad? Much like the Chiefs shouldn't get too excited about beating the Giants, the Bears shouldn't get too excited about beating the Cowboys, although they really did need that win. They did hold them to 14 points. The Cowboys defense is clearly missing Micah Parsons. I don't care what anybody says. That is not having that guy to chase down the quarterback like they've had the previous couple of years. They haven't replaced him. There's no replacing a player like that. You hope to find someone maybe close, but they don't have that right now. It's not looking good for them this week because they're going to play Green Bay this week. So no storyline there or anything, right? Jerry Jones has been in the media all this week saying, the last thing I heard him say something like, Well, we used to have Micah Parsons, and we didn't win any playoff games either, taking another shot at Micah Parsons. Yeah, that's true. You didn't win any, but one guy doesn't win a thing, but one guy could make the kind of play that saves a game, breaks open a game, changes the momentum of and the energy of a game. He's a game wrecker, and they don't have that in Dallas. And their Diggs, their cornerback, looked like he hurt his arm in that game. So something to look out for this week if he's playing. He did have his left arm hanging at the end of that game, so he's not 100%. He's not right. The Packers are going to be glad to see the Cowboys after coming off of that upset win from Cleveland. And Jordan Love has got to be he's got to be a star. He needs to stand up and do something. They got to get Josh Jacobs running the ball too. I don't think they're using him enough. He's such a good running back. I don't know, is the line bad? Are they just playing game situations and they're not running the ball as much? But I think they need to get him going early to take the pressure off Jordan Love and let Jordan Love work into his rhythm instead of putting the ball in his hands and asking him to throw it, because the Packers wide receivers, again, they've got a bunch of them. They all should be good, but nobody's had a big play. There's been no big plays. There's been no yards after the catch. It's been interesting. And Tucker Kraft, he's got to get back to his touchdown monster that he typically is for Jordan Love. And let's see, because, again, they played Cleveland last week, who has a great defense, but the Packers couldn't do much. And they're going to get a break here with the Cowboys. So let's get it going, Green Bay. It's, you're supposed to be one of those teams competing for that title, that division title. And we may get some false hope against the Cowboys this week, but I think the Packers should win this game, especially with all the drama. I can't see Micah Parsons after the things Jerry Jones has been saying, which I just don't understand why you keep poking the bear like that. Like, why are you going to rile this guy up? He's got enough motivation. The fact that you wouldn't pay him and you strung him along for the last 4 years, your best defensive player, you just let go. And now you're going to say, well, we didn't win with him, so really no big deal. Like, that's just outrageous to me. I just don't understand how Jerry Jones could say anything even close to that. But that's going to be a good game. I'm definitely going to take some caffeine and make sure I can stay up to watch all 4 quarters of that Sunday night game, because that is going to be something. Even if it's a lopsided Packers victory or a close game, it doesn't matter. That is the soap opera. This is the matchup of the year. The next one will be like when Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers play Green Bay. But right now, this week, the game you got to watch, the game I'm looking forward to, is going to be the Packers and the Cowboys. It's going to be pretty good. Dallas lost CeeDee Lamb with a high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for several weeks. That's not going to help them this week against the Packers. The Bears, they got to win, but don't get too excited. It was the Cowboys. The Cowboys are struggling. You should have beat them. Their offense, the Bears' offense, put up some points, which is nice. Maybe they can carry that into week 4 here and keep it rolling on offense, but only time will tell. Like I said, we're going to know after week 4 which teams are for real and which teams are not going to get to the playoffs. We're going to know. There's a lot of games we got to watch out for in week 4. The Chargers, another exciting game. Herbert is looking good. Keenan Allen, late game tying touchdown. Dicker kicks the game-winning field goal. I think I heard the stat was he's made 44 out of 45 at SoFi Stadium, so almost automatic. They're looking good. They're winning tough games, tight games. The Chargers are now 3-0. That looks like the team to beat. Bad news for them. Najee Harris tore his Achilles, but Omarion Hampton, the rookie running back, came in, had an excellent game. 19 attempts for 70 yards and a touchdown. He was averaging almost 4 yards per carry, which is pretty good. But let's see this week. The Broncos, on the other hand, they lose another tough one late. That's 2 this year. They definitely need to get the running game going. Dobbins has been pretty good, but their rookie Harvey, they haven't really gotten him going. I think it's going to be more Dobbins, and Harvey is going to have to wait a couple weeks to get another big opportunity to get some carries. I think Bo Nix is okay, but he's not been doing those Bo Nix things that everybody was excited about with his rookie season last year. Maybe defenses are figuring him out. That could be part of it. Their players are there on offense. Maybe it's just the line. I don't know. I haven't watched them that closely, but I'm not sure if Bo Nix is really feeling comfortable yet this year. I don't know. I think maybe defenses just know how to play him now. Maybe they're changing things up. Let's see this week. They really need that win. Like they're a good team. A lot of experts were picking them to make the playoffs this year, to be one of those surprise guys and maybe even win the division. But right now, winning the division doesn't look like that's in the cards. Maybe a wild card berth if they get it turned around. But if they lose another game, I think you got to start worrying and got to start wondering what's going on there. Another game that was kind of a surprise, there's the backup quarterback bowl, as I was thinking of it, was the Vikings and the Bengals, and the Vikings crushed the Bengals 48-10. I mean, the Minnesota defense is amazing. Isaiah Rodgers had 2 forced fumbles and 2 touchdowns. The Vikings offense looked good. Carson Wentz didn't do anything to hurt the team. He didn't put up any big numbers, but he managed the game well. Mason ran big. Hawkinson showed up, finally put up some numbers, as I was hoping he was going to with Wentz there. Justin Jefferson had a good game, but no touchdowns. I mean, it was kind of underwhelming. I mean, from a fantasy perspective, it was okay. It was an okay game. It was definitely not Justin Jefferson typical game, but, it was the first game with Carson Wentz. Give him a break. I think Wentz, being the experienced quarterback that he is, he knows he's going to go to his star receivers. He's going to throw to Hawkinson. He's going to throw to Jefferson. They're getting some of their injured receivers back this week, so let's see what they do. Hopefully this game, Carson Wentz will get a little more passing going and get the wide receivers involved a little more, but they do have Jordan Mason to lean on in the running game. Seems like they're fine as they wait for Aaron Jones to recover from his injury. So, the question becomes, do we now have a quarterback controversy brewing in Minnesota? J.J. McCarthy played 2 games, only really had 1 good quarter. Offense didn't look that great. And, if they have another big win and put up a lot of points this week, maybe you don't have to rush J.J. McCarthy back. I mean, I don't think you do anyway, because Carson Wentz is a pro. He was an MVP candidate when he was with the Eagles. He's struggled in some of the stops since then, but he hasn't lost any of that knowledge. So I think he's going to have a good game, I think, this week against the Steelers in Ireland. So set your VCRs or your DVRs. That's going to be an early game, 9:30 here in the East Coast. They're playing in Ireland. Viking and Steelers. It's going to be an interesting game to see, because the Steelers definitely need a win, and the Vikings, with their defense, looks amazing. Hopefully the defense travels, and if they can keep the Steelers offense off the field, they can let the Vikings offense and Wentz, they could run it. They don't have to go crazy. If they're not playing from behind, I think the Vikings are going to win this game. But we'll see. It should be interesting. We talked about the Browns upsetting the Packers. The big thing I got out of that game was really from the Browns, the rookie Judkins. Cleveland ran the ball 19 times, and he had 18 carries and 90 yards, I believe. So he's solidly going to be the RB1 going forward. The defense, Cleveland's defense with Myles Garrett, always good. I was starting to be concerned for Myles Garrett, who was planning to leave Cleveland during the summer. And when he was saying he was never going to play for Cleveland again. And then they somehow got him, They gave him a pile of money. But then he comes back and they're 0-2. And you're like, why did I come back? and then they win a tough game against a really good Packers team. So this week, Browns are going to be looking to keep that momentum going forward. I don't know. Joe Flacco's not lighting up the scoreboard. Maybe it's time to start thinking, where's the spot to fit Dylan Gabriel in? Is it time to start thinking about the rookie quarterbacks that they have on their roster, Shador and Gabriel? Get something else, another dynamic, maybe some run pass options that Joe Flacco at his age is not going to be running and scrambling that much. Maybe one of these younger guys who can move the pocket. They might want to start looking to do that, especially if they don't win this week, the Browns. I think it's time to start looking to their rookie quarterbacks, much like the Giants are doing this week. Another great game. The Commanders started their backup, Marcus Mariota. They won the game. Jeremy McNichol had a huge running play for a touchdown, a 60-yard play. My favorite part of that was the Dan Quinn celebrating that touchdown with the bloody nose he received from crashing into one of his players earlier. I see that as being a meme or a t-shirt or something. Geno Smith for the Raiders, just not looking good. Ashton Genty, the rookie running back that we're all waiting to see him have a breakout game, hasn't happened yet. He needs more touches, but watching that game, the offensive line for the Raiders, they can't block anybody. Genty is getting hit almost instantly when he gets the ball handed to him from Geno Smith, and that's just not a recipe for success. Literally go back and watch that game and watch this week to see if the Raiders get that fixed, but their offensive line is not helping them out, which is not helping Geno Smith out. Hopefully Brock Bowers' knee is a little better this week to help Geno Smith. I mean, in week 1, he looked amazing, and he's been injured the last 2 games. He's been putting in his best effort, but he just doesn't look the same. I've read this week he practiced fully. I don't know if he's out of the brace yet, but let's see if Brock Bowers can get going. If that happens, maybe the Raiders have a chance to win this week. The Seahawks are starting to look good. They're starting to get their stuff together. They crushed the Saints last week. Kenneth Walker and the running game looks solid. So Walker will get all the yards, and Charbonnet's getting those goal line plays. So from a fantasy perspective, both of these guys, you want to have them on your team. Sam Darnold looking good. He's managing the game. Their defense is starting to get it together. They're getting into that rhythm. I think by this week, we'll see when they did just play. Week 4 has started. They did just play the Cardinals and win a tough one with a last-minute field goal. The Seahawks are now in control of the NFC West at the moment and are looking solid. Their defense is coming around. Their offense is not making dumb mistakes. JSN is a number 1 wide receiver. He's been a star in all their games so far this year. They look like the team to beat right now. Between them and the Rams, I think, one of those two are going to win the division, but both looks like they're going to make the playoffs. The Saints, on the other hand, last week looked like they may be setting up to try to draft Arch Manning, because I just don't know what they're doing. From a fantasy's perspective, I don't feel like you can trust any of their offensive players. I mean, Alvin Kamara is Alvin Kamara, but even he is not living up to his normal numbers. Maybe it's the line. Maybe it's Spencer Rattler. Maybe it's time to start their rookie quarterback. We'll see how it goes this week. I think if the Saints lose another game, again, like a lot of these teams that drafted a rookie quarterback this year, and they're all 1-2, if they go 1-3, it might be time to just say, hey, let's try the new guy, because this ain't working. Spencer Rattler has not won a game as a starting quarterback in the NFL. The guy's never won a game in the NFL that he started. It may be time. This week, maybe he's on a short leash this week. We'll see. The Colts trampled the Titans 41-20. Jonathan Taylor looks like the best running back in football at this moment. And they're starting to call Daniel Indiana Jones, Danny Dimes, whatever. Danny Diamonds now they're calling him. Daniel Indiana Jones seems to have unearthed his quarterback skills, and they're looking pretty solid. I've watched Daniel Jones struggle for years with the Giants, so I'm not going to get overly excited, but he's definitely looking better than he did at any time wearing a Giants uniform. And that has to do with the coaching. Also has to do with the weapons he has. He did have Saquon, but for whatever reason, the Giants used to want to have Daniel Jones be the focus of the offense, where the Colts realize, hey, we've got Jonathan Taylor, maybe the best running back in the league. He is at this moment, in my opinion, and they're having a more balanced attack. Plus, having Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end out of Penn State, and he's got weapons on the outside. He's got a tight end. He's got a running back. Their offensive line has always been good. So it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. The Colts may be for real. I don't think anybody was expecting it, especially with the new quarterback thing and Daniel Jones' track record leading up to this season wasn't something that you felt real excited about. But right now, the Colts look like they may be the real deal. They're definitely the front runners at the moment for winning their division. It's very early, but in week 3, they look like solidly like they look like a playoff team. The Titans, on the other hand, still having growing pains. Calvin Ridley's not doing anything on the offense. Thought from what I saw in preseason with him and Cam Ward that this was going to be an exciting duo. That hasn't materialized as of yet. Not sure when that's going to happen, but it needs to happen soon. I mean, the Titans head coach Callahan, he is no longer going to be calling the plays. He's turning the play calling over to his quarterbacks coach, Bo Hardigree. Hopefully that can give them a spark and get something going. They need to get their running game going. They need to get their wide receivers going. They got to start mixing it up. Cam Ward is suffering the growing pains of most number 1 quarterbacks who get drafted. I mean, when you get drafted number 1, you're going to a bad team. So the Titans are a bad team. Yes, they have their quarterback of the future, but until they build up that line around him and build up that defense and keep the scoring low, because 41 points is not keeping the scoring low. So they need help on defense. They need help on the offensive line. Let's see if having the quarterback's coach call the plays this week does something different for the Titans. You know, quarterback's coach is the guy who's in his ear since he got into the building. So they definitely have a better relationship, even more so than he would with the head coach. It's not the guy he works with every day. So maybe Cam Ward has a breakout game this week. Hopefully they'll design a game plan with plays that he is more comfortable with. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. It's tough. It's always tough for these number 1 draft picks, in my opinion, coming in. Like, there's so much expectation on them. He's the savior of our franchise. He's the face of the franchise. Rah, rah, rah. But realistically, this is a horrible team. So everybody's expectations need to be tempered because he's got to learn. And they need help. He needs help. You know, maybe after next year when they can draft some offensive linemen, maybe draft some defensive players, some game wreckers, maybe get another weapon for him, maybe a tight end. I don't know. It looks like it's going to be a rough year for the Titans, but you know, they do have Cam Ward. He does look good when he looks good, but we're going to have to see how this goes. This isn't going to turn around quickly for the Titans. So hold on, Titans fans. It's going to be a rough year, but you've got Cam Ward. He's going to be good. Let's just hope he stays healthy and gets help, and it's not being put on his back every week multiple times. The Jaguars somehow beat the Texans. The Texans, I'm highly concerned from them. CJ Stroud doesn't look anything like he did in his rookie year. They did let their tackle, I think is Laramie Tunsil was his name. They let him go. Why? Their running game's not working. They can't block. They're not protecting CJ Stroud. They only put up 10 points. The Texans look in trouble to me. I expected more. Their defense is okay, Their defense is doing well. They should do well this week, but their offense is leaving a lot to be desired. Their running game, Nick Chubb is supposed to be the number one, but he nearly split carries with Woody Marks, the rookie, almost 50-50. So it looks like Chubb might be losing his grip on that starting role. Joe Mixon is in the wings somewhere. Maybe when he comes back, he takes over. Their running game's not working. Stroud is struggling. I don't know. The Texans look bad. I mean, the Jaguars won this game, but I'm not feeling excited about anything I'm seeing with there either. Trevor Lawrence is okay. He's doing okay. He's not getting his receivers the ball. I mean, their number one receiver, Thomas, is doing almost nothing. Hunter, their rookie, is splitting time on defense. So I feel if he was concentrating on offense, he would probably be able to get more receptions and get going, but all the passes he's getting so far are within 10 yards. They're all short little slants out of the slot, and he's not been able to break away and use his speed to put in the yards after the catch. So if you had him on his fantasy team like I did, I had drafted him, he's gone. He's a free agent. I can't depend on what I'm seeing out of the Jaguars. And same thing with Thomas, who's really a stud wide receiver in this league, and he was last year as a rookie. Right now, he's definitely having a sophomore slump, but is that more Trevor Lawrence's fault or his fault? I mean, Thomas has been dropping the ball a bit, but he's also getting covered more because he's not sneaking up on anybody, because we saw what you did last year, so we know we got to design a defense to stop that guy. And so far, it's working, and Trevor Lawrence is not throwing the ball his way as much as he could and should, and they got to figure something out to get Thomas going this week. And the last game, the Niners escaped that game 16-15. They escaped with a win with a walk-off field goal from Eddie Pinheiro. Christian McCaffrey, if he's on your fantasy team, you are very happy. He's getting lots of passes and lots of rushes, and he's putting up big points in fantasy, and he looks to be recovered from his injury woes of last season. Ricky Pearsall is solidly establishing himself as a number one receiver. He seems to be handling it. He had 8 catches for 117 yards. I wish I had him on my fantasy team, to be quite honest, with those kind of numbers. Mac Jones won his second game, but he did injure his knee. Brock Purdy is back this week, so Mac Jones will be going back to being the number 2, but he did look good. He seems to fit in that system. The Cardinals, on the other hand, another tough one for them. They had a bigger loss for them besides the game was losing James Conner to an ankle injury, and his ankle turned in a way that no ankle should ever turn. Tough to watch if you saw that replay. Feel bad for him because he's really been such a solid running back since he got into the league. But the Cardinals have Trey Benson, who they've been talking about all year, that we have 2 number ones. We have 2 number one running backs, but he's never really carried the ball more than 10 times in a game. So it'll be interesting to see if he can handle it. And it was interesting to see, as a matter of fact, because at the time of this recording, the Cardinals did play their game and lost already. And Trey Benson didn't have much more effect on the game than he did in the game against the Niners last week. So if you were like me and you picked Trey Benson up once you heard James Conner was hurt and saying, he's going to take over and he's going to give me those James Conner goal line touchdowns and those points, and he's going to be, the lead back. It didn't work out that way this week. So maybe next week he'll get it going more. I personally don't think I can start him in my lineup in week 5 going forward until I see him play another game or 2 as a starter, but I'll hold on to him for now. But if that kind of usage that they gave him this week, it wasn't what I was hoping for, and lots of fantasy managers were hoping for. But we'll see. I'm excited to see these games this week. I'm definitely excited to see the Giants game, to see what jaxsondart can do, and Cam Scatterbo, and how they're going to have their rookies out there, which they drafted strong. They drafted these guys for a reason. Let's see if they can bring the excitement and bring the energy to this team and start putting some points on the board like they did in the preseason. It seems like this is a good opportunity for them, but they are playing the Chargers. The Chargers are 3-0. The Giants are 0-3, and the Chargers look good. So I don't know. We'll see how the Giants go. I'm definitely looking forward to that game. I'm definitely looking forward to the Ireland game with the Steelers and the Vikings, and to end the night with the Packers and the Cowboys and the soap opera, Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones, and the ability for Micah Parsons to sack Dak Prescott. I can't wait the first time he does that. I hope he does it multiple times. I'm rooting for the Packers in that one for sure. That should be fun. I appreciate you guys watching. Sorry Marcus wasn't here. We'll try to get him back for the next time. Hopefully I didn't talk too long, and hopefully I gave you something that you found interesting. Drop a comment below. Drop some questions if you want us to talk about anything specific. If you drop a comment on this week's podcast, we'll try to address it in next week's podcast. If you like what you heard and saw, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. It'll help the channel. Enjoy your football this week. Good luck with your fantasy team. And I will see you guys on Silva Linings Playbook next week. Thanks for watching, you guys. Have a great day.